The LGD chants have begun. It is a rematch of the grand final, and I want to hear one man's thoughts before we hop into the game. It is Nahaks.
To witness LGD versus OG last year, not once but twice, both in the upper bracket finals and in the grand finals. Both times LGD fell short, but last time they were on OG's home turf. This time around, LGD, they brought you to Shanghai. They brought you to their home turf, and now OG have to play against the roars of the LGD fans.
Yes, I am so excited for this matchup. As Alan pointed out, the stats all lead us to believe that this will be one aggressive match, and the heroes that they have too. And there's raw aggression on both sides. They want a team fight non-stop. There's always a great five-man potential. Both teams have good amount of catch.
Oh, Blitz, that assist leader that now Alan brought up, that got me hyped, man. That got me hyped. I was just thinking, these two teams love to be able to fight around each other, and clashing against each other just means we're going to be seeing non-stop action.
So an interesting point that Insania brought up was that OG forces you to play at their tempo. They force you to play a very fast game. They want you to get into these silly situations where you feel like you have to dive, and they feel like they have to dive as a result.
And so do you feel like LGD adjusted their draft to address that? I mean, they've got some pretty fast heroes. The Gyrocopter, one a very popular hero of this tournament, has had a lot of success. The Ember Spirit, low cooldown hero as well. The only long cooldown they have is that Tidehunter, which has been a favorite among some of the Chinese teams of this tournament.
Yeah, it's been a favorite of a lot of teams just because Tidehunter, no matter what, will get his Ravage off. But OG have one of the best ways to deal with it in the Anaphasis Void. The Chronosphere, of course, doesn't really care about the Kraken Shell too much.
And they've got some great heroes to follow up on it as well. They've got the Elder Titan with his Earth Splitter and Stomp. They've got Pango even being able to swashbuckle from a distance. And let's not forget about the OG Thompson Zeus, which is going to be in the mid matchup against Maybe's Gyrocopter. And they're going to run a side lane Ember Spirit to dodge that matchup.
I think what PSG.LGD learned from last year is you always have to have the ability to fight OG. OG is one of the best teams at coming back from a poor laning phase. I mean, they have Thompson, who it feels like he almost always gets solo killed at some point in the lane, but it doesn't feel like it really matters because he figures out a way to win.
We're going to have that forward position Pango for Jerix that's going to be assisting Seb's Furion at the top lane, just trying to harass the Ember Spirit out of lane as much as possible. It is going to be backed by a pretty offensive duo. The Ember Spirits and Oracle. Round level 3, they can do a lot against this. See Ame just trying to get as much CS as he can, trying to deal with the treants and clear them out. Well, bottom lane, Anna with his Faceless Void, babysat by No-Tail's Elder Titan, may not be able to provide the same kind of lane assistance that FY's Lion is going to have. With that range advantage just constantly harassing both Anna and No-Tail. That's why No-Tail's going to come in from behind with all that spirit damage, immediately gets stunned up. Lets Chalice just kind of juke No-Tail out until the damage wears away.
This bottom lane Chalice,
and
it's getting a little bit low.
No-Tail. He's actually turned on to FY instead. FY forced to use the stun. No bash this time from Anna.
Only level 1 bash. He already procced once. Has to be careful about pushing forward like that, as there is a level of Gush early by Chalice, and the Time Walk level 1 cooldown is so long.
Yeah, he's going to have to be a little bit careful of any harassment that comes his way while that's on cooldown, but that's what No-Tail's here for. And geez, seems like nobody can fight him. It just keeps on spamming out spirit after spirit. So it looks to me, Blitz, like maybe the side lanes are going to go a little bit better for OG. How's that mid lane matchup supposed to go? Looks like maybe he's taking a huge lead already. 12-3 compared to 7-2 against Thompson.
I think this lane goes fine for the Gyrocopter. Like, Zeus typically just sort of trades out farm. That's what this hero does. He's not meant to really win any lanes or get any solo kills, because the point of the hero is that your team fight is so strong that it shouldn't matter at some point. Seb, though, with a hero that we haven't seen a whole lot played in this position too much, Nature's Prophet in the off lane, this hero comes with its own set of problems. I think the reason why they pick it is for that global presence with the Zeus.
Get the kill on No-Tail. This time he just gets a bit too far forward, challenges LGD a bit much. And in the effort to try and create Anna some space. The chance for LGD have begun. And that's what I thought was the coolest thing, is the Chinese crowd, they have not been any slouches when it comes to cheering for OG. They like OG a lot. But when OG's introduction came out on stage, they were extremely quiet. They wanted OG to know, in this matchup, we're not favoring you at all. We are backing our boys, LGD.
Yeah, no boos, but you know, they're gonna show their hometown team love.
Seb going in for the dive, X-Nova.
And he's surrounded right now.
The Treant is going to reveal him the whole entire way, and Seb's going to try and get in position with the trees. He'll just finish him off with a little Treant, and that's going to be good enough. Meanwhile, Ame actually coming in through the side here does pick up Jerix, and he's going to try and challenge some of that CS that's floating into the tower. Our mid matchup continues to be rather dominant for Navy's Gyrocopter. Just keeps on throwing out missile after missile.
And Maybe is a very good one-on-one mid laner. His creep aggro tricks, the way that he almost always times out denies. The fact that he's got 4 denies against the Zeus.
Yeah, it's a little hard to do, especially since with Thompson spamming out lightning bolt after lightning bolt, bringing himself a few mangoes as well. He's trying to keep the Rascal battle going back and forth. Not just be entirely run by the missile. Jerix takes a little bit of damage, but he has the range drop now, and that'll make the offensive pressure of this Oracle a lot less viable. So a smart little choice by him after he got killed by Ame, traded out. LGD do manage to get the boundary rune at bottom lane. No tail, get a lot of damage in return though.
But it's currently Seb right now, leading the net worth chart on the side of both teams. Chalice not doing bad for himself either.
Yeah.
And both offlaners having a good start. I feel like it's very important for Nature's Prophet, especially in this meta, to have a good start. Just because you do have comeback mechanics, but you need to be ahead with this hero to fight, because he doesn't come with any sort of stun. His ulti is pretty good, but unreliable at team fights. So the important part about all of this is being able to be ahead and stay ahead in net worth.
They're trying to sneak in a kill. They do have that very defensive mid lane ward that spotted out the rotation from FY's line. So they know he's somewhere behind Thompson. Thompson's going to play really safe, especially whenever the missile is cast on him. One thing that LGD will need to rely upon heavily here is their teamwork and communication, right? Because while there are a lot of downsides to the Furion, the big advantage is this is a core Furion with so much global presence, you can't be overly focusing on your lane and just trading out against that enemy hero. You never know when the Furion's going to show up and change the odds.
And Ame, top lane, is going to start going on Seb. He doesn't have any chains yet. Wanted to see if he could find the angle, so Seb will be just fine. Has 2 different ways to get out of this situation. I think part of the reason why they take the MP2 though is they have an easy way to push out the lanes and start fights.
Yeah.
And on top of that, it just lanes well.
We're certainly seeing that with Ame falling below Ana's face point. Maybe with the help of it, will get the kill on mid lane OG Thompson. And they'll find that observer ward that spotted out FY earlier. So really good read by him. He understood that his rotations were spotted. Finds a different angle to get it. Now it's on top. Barrett's going to be gone on his ring drop. It's gone. He's going to be going for a death by Ame. Can he stay ahead of the Furion? He will. And now Seb does not have a teleport, so he knows he kind of has to battle Ame back here. But the ultimate comes out. That'll be enough to finish off X-Nova. And the Flame Guard will wear out for Ame as well. Seb will be fine. Still though, 4-2 to the favor of LGD.
Part of something that we should talk about is the vision game between these two teams. Zeus and Nature's Prophet, of course, makes it so easy to win that vision battle. That's why...
Jeez, Anchor Smasher, no. Anna, as long as he can get those bashes, it's still going to be an incredible amount of damage. Thinking about chasing down Jerix, just places down the Renan.
Something we should note too is the presence of the 2 wards that LGD have decided to go for. This is, I think, a direct counter to Thompson and the type of rotations that he wants to make into the enemy jungle. We saw that so often in the series against EG, in fact, when he played the Tiny and he just found the TV over and over again.
Yeah.
This ward vision isn't really meant to protect mid so much as it is meant to protect the jungle and Ame's lane, in fact.
Yeah.
Because I feel like Thompson, more than any other core, invades that jungle area So they want to make sure that they spot him coming the entire way through.
And I've noticed before, like, Thompson Zeus, he's very reliant on being able to pick up power runes and bounty runes as well. So those sort of rotations are going to be spotted out by these observer wards, at least the top half. And just by process of elimination, X Nova, he's still blocked in, tries to eat 2 different trees, that's still not good enough. Maybe in here, they're going to try and get the kill on Jerix as they trade out X Nova, run over by the Remnant. With the rotation coming out, OG isn't going to be too sad about this. They trade support for support, and it required maybe to make rotation like that.
Yeah, but maybe he's trying to protect this top lane area. He's focusing on that so much because he doesn't want his jungle to get invaded. Seb gonna get stunned up, ult immediately, and Seb has to be careful here, but maybe they don't have the damage.
Down here, it's gonna be a little hard. The Hex goes out. They're just running out of damage now. If anything, Thompson might be able to get the kill, especially with Jared. With the long-range swashbuck, barely getting away with the TP as well. Great read by Thompson.
I would anticipate PSG.LGD to continue to send Gyro up to this top lane, protect this area, don't let this tower fall, especially against a Nature's Prophet. He plays like Beastmaster in the sense. Mid lane, Somnus getting a little bit low, but should be perfectly fine. Got a lot of support behind him.
The next step is going to be those 10-minute bounty runes. Chalice is already pushed down bottom, and we've got rotations from our supports to secure this lane. If they can get the pick off on the No-Tail, the captain of OG, then they might be able to actually finish off this tier 1 tower. Otherwise, it's going to be a slow push.
X Nova. They know that
Thompson.
They know they smoked. They got to get out of here.
Oh, he actually used the magic meter on himself, but there goes FY. X Nova thought he was going to be the target. Now Jerix looks to be able to pick up the bounty rune in front of him and body block X Nova as well with the Orb of Venom. Makes it very easy for Thompson to help get that kill. And now OG taking the kill score lead.
Very surprised that they decided to make that play. He didn't see Thompson until the smoke broke, so that should have alerted him to the fact that there were more than one hero here. At least he should know that one support is behind him, but they still decided to take the fight. Maybe they thought with the addition of Ravage it would be enough. Chalice was in no position to back them up.
It looks like we're going to see a continuation of Thompson's earlier build, which is just running for the really fast boots of travel with the Furion. They're going to try and abuse LGD and especially the slower pace of the Tidehunter, right?
Yeah, I will say though, OG, their ways to start fight start and end with Chronos here for the most part. Maybe Jerix can get some stuff done too, but a lot is on Ana in this game. Chronos here, of course, so good at taking every single fight. Void, I feel like, has been one of the heroes of the tournament, especially coming from a position where he was so weak, and nowadays everyone seems to love him. I think he just works so well as a counter core. Every single core in the game feels so bad about playing against him. And look at this. This is the ward that I was talking about that you were trying to protect. Protect the jungle against OG. Don't let them get in here for free.
That's why X Nova is kind of positioned to be able to break smokes.
Oh, he was there to break the smoke, and
now
still gets cut out
more. And now Jerix is going to try and take some of this. Yes, they're going to turn and try and kill Jerix, but there goes the Chronosphere. Oh, perfectly timed the air splitter. This is just a beauty of a team fight for OG. And thinking the Sombot on me as well. One going through, nails them and tops to finish him off lightning as well. OG just perfectly execute that fight, and LGD fall apart.
Oh, the timing of that was so rough for them. X Nova was there just to break that smoke. They have 2 wards to protect that area.
Talisman against long odds.
Doesn't seem to matter as OG read that perfectly.
And that's all set up by Jerix as well, who getting into that position off of Swashbuckle and being able to get that kind of ward down, spotting the stacks.
And this ward right here, they're going to place a similar ward either in this area or this area higher up.
Yeah.
They always want to invade your jungle, and by taking the mid tower and pressuring this top wall.
That lightning bolt just stalled FY long enough for Seb to complete his TP.
Once they lose this top tower, PSG.LGD is going to feel very hemmed in. You see that FY searching for it right now. They know there's vision up here. They eventually find it.
But the damage has already been done. A team wipe like that, or at least close to it, leads into the mid tower being taken, and that just means rotations into your jungle are going to come harder and faster, especially at that safe lane tower. Well, you know it's eventually going to die. You try and protect it, but it's like playing against a centaur.
I think you actually have to protect it in this game.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel good to do, but I think if PSG.LGD lose their safe lane tower too early, they're going to lose so much map control and map pressure in this game that Seb is going to have too good of a game. which is why I wanted them to protect their jungle. And they were for the most part, but you slip for a second.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, you lose control of your jungle, you lose through heroes, and you lose your mid tower.
Okay, what about if you're losing your mid tower? What about you trying to take the enemy safe lane tower and open up their jungle? Is that going to be equally effective?
I'm okay with that play. It just feels rough because one side has a Tide Hunter and one side has the Nature's Prophet.
Yeah.
If you're going to make this play down towards bottom, I think then you have to go towards mid with your Ravage. That's the only way that you can keep up with the tempo of OG.
Look at Ame, he just can't stop it. The Treants, as well as Anna, will be able to finish up that safe lane tower. They just couldn't do enough to be able to stall that. So they'll trade out Tier 1 towers. As a result, OG holding a 2K gold lead to Thompson, just doing a little bit of scouting there. I think he was maybe a bit afraid of some sort of smoke rotation or something. But X-Nova, he's been spotted here big time. Does manage to at least kill a ward, but he is certainly dead. And they'll give that last hit to Sev as well.
Look at that. There's already an Orchid on Sev, 14 minutes in. Yeah. This guy's got an Orchid.
It's pretty insane. I would have expected the old Solar Crest build from him.
I think it's because his lane was going so well.
Yeah.
And he's going to hard counter up the Ember Spirit as a result.
Yeah, Ame is going to be super unhappy with this timing, that's for sure. And Boy in trouble. Gets hit by the Rolling Thunder. Bounce back by Jarek. Swashbuckle to finish him off. Nice and easy. But at the same time, No Tail's going to be chased down. They are going to be able to get the Orchid out onto the Gyropods. The drums goes out. They want to make sure that everyone's safe here. X-Nova is always there with the Dispel as well.
And look at that. As soon as Ame sees the Orchid, he immediately pivots to the BKB.
Yeah.
I feel like he needs some sort of DPS item first. Maybe even a Maelstrom into the BKB. I feel like this BKB is a little bit of a bait.
It's so hard too, right? It's like he could try and depend on X-Nova, but X-Nova doesn't really want to play around him all the time, right?
He wants to play around the gyro.
Yeah.
Completely right.
But at the same time, if you don't go this, if you do go the BKB, hold up, bottom lane, Jarek's going to be chain stunned here. He will have an opportunity to, oh, no, he won't. He'll just die a little bit too fast thanks to the Finger of Death.
I really feel like PSG.LGD, they want to utilize this Ravage. If you want to do something with it in this game, sometimes the threat is better, but in this game right now, OG's not really respecting the threat of the Ravage.
Do you agree with that? 85-15, is this game that one-sided to OG's favor?
No. And it starts here as Thompson.
They're going to use the Thompson here with a pipe as well. They're made super tanky. And a kill streak on him as well. That's going to mean a lot for PSG.LGD and the two heroes that collect that experience and that bounty. But bottom lane, OG, he's beginning to round some of these heroes. Anna looking to chase him down. FY turns around for the Hex, but that's just enough. Oh, stun doesn't hit. Even though the Hex is there, there's no damage, there's no stuns. Now Ame, who's just mid lane, is now bottom for an opening.
He's invis right now.
They're all taking away inside the trees. Can they find anybody who's going to go for the blind slight fist?
They're pinging right now on the ground. Anna.
He knows No Tail's here. Anna. I think he realized he just has to leave behind. The Ravage instantly going out. They have managed to finish off No Tail, yes, but there's no way they can go for Anna now. You're right. They wanted to be able to use that Ravage. They only use it to be able to kill a 5 position, and now they're going to trade out X-Nova as he gets found expertly by Jarex.
And this is pretty disastrous, I think, for PSG.LGD because they rely so heavily on the Ravage to start fights for them too. And they haven't had to use the Chronosphere. This feels a little bit rough for them.
Yeah.
But they are farming a lot of stacks. And their timing is going to come once they get their BKBs. I feel like once you get your BKBs on PSG.LGD, the game changes once again.
Jarex, he's been really using the mobility of this Swashbuckle to get wards down that you just wouldn't normally expect, fortunately, because of that.
I think these teams do expect each other's wards, though.
Yeah,
they played against each other in these high-pressure situations now. This is the 3rd time.
If anybody's going to be able to see these kind of moves coming up from OG, it's got to be LGD.
Yeah, and it feels like OG, it feels like they're doing the same things that they did, that made them successful in the first place.
Massive kill. Jarek is going to fall with that big rotation from LGD, though. Look at this rotation from OG. No Tail.
That's real low, but
I actually thought for a second he was getting caught out by the Chronosphere. But he does jump away safely, kind of reading the situation in time.
And that's going to be the next timing window for PSG.LGD. Once the BKBs come online, what do the fights look like?
Under attack.
Of course, that doesn't solve all their problems because the Chronosphere doesn't really care In the early game, though, BKB is so good against the Faceless Void, just because the time lock damage is magical. So if you get your BKB off, you're usually going to be okay.
Okay, so let's talk about like later into the game. We have this Faceless Void, and the win probability heavily favoring OG. Is this just because the Chronospheres, that you're not sure if this is like maybe they're sacrificing too much of their game? Do you think it's they're scared of this early game of OG and want to make sure they're not run over? Or do you think it's more about they feel confident in their late game and they just have to weather through the storm in the next coming moments?
I think it's both. I feel like what they're trying to do is match OG's timing. OG is a very timing-based team. Once they get their 2 or 3 items, they just want to run at you and fight, fight, fight. I think PSG.LGD, what they're trying to do is weather that storm point. OG's going to read that trap. And they're going to say, we can just bring in our Orchid Nature's Prophet +1 hero. He's going to die every single time. So you have to get that BKB. It's not just for the team fight. It's so that you can safely push out the side lanes. It's such a cool meta that's developed in this regard. Like, that's why the draft matters so much. Like, you need some way to deal with OG's ability to just deal with the waves at all times. You don't want the waves in your face. That's how OG sets up fights.
So just like we were talking about how LGD is going to identify OG's win condition in Anna's Faceless Void, how they're actually going to be able to start fights. The same's going to be happening with LGD, identifying how OG wants to move around the map and how they're going to try and counter that.
Yeah, I've watched their games. Like, I don't watch a lot of replays. I like to watch the games live, but these games I study like 40 times. The finals and their upper bracket finals. Because I found it so interesting, like the mini meta that has developed between these two teams. Like why they pick the heroes that they pick. Because they've definitely developed like an internal meta anyways. They've extended their best of like 14 across 2 different tournaments now.
Is under attack.
Bounty Rune's going to be split, but Ame will have the advantage of finding a double damage rune. See whether or not LGD wants to try and take a fight against OG now that they have their double BKBs, one for Gyro, one for the Ember Spirit. Thompson, meanwhile, he's got Eul's Scepter plus Boots of Travel. Anna has his Hand of Midas and is going to be working on a fast diffusal blade, so he's not as reliant on bashes or Chronosphere to be able to lock people down and get his damage in. After Seb finished up that Orchid, he's got a BKB on its way. So very fast timing.
And you notice that OG for once, they're not just looking for the straight up 5-man. They'll just continue to poke and prod, see where the weakness is for PSG.LGD, and as soon as they aren't together as 5. And you notice right here, Ame, he's playing away from his team. This is the correct move. Always play away from your team because you have the ability to gap close and come in to help them out. Gonna get gone on at bottom for the time being. Silenced up, but
ready to try and finish off Seb. You use the BKB as soon as he thinks he's got Seb dead, and Seb's gonna try and push the BKB, and that was a 1,000 gold for Ame. Holy crap!
That's and now he's level 17.
Oh,
he's level 17.
Oh, okay. Well, that's halfway to a relic already for Ame.
That's the same level as the Zeus who's got the XP talent cap, just for context.
Okay, then.
That's more than double X Novas.
Well, you can see exactly why OG want to stay away from the 5-man fight right now, because PSG.LGD, they're very strong. Between their double BKBs and their Blink Dagger picked up by the Tidehunter. The worst thing that they can happen for OG is trying to challenge PSG.LGD and get caught into a Ravage situation.
And this is why I didn't think the game was 85-15, because PSG.LGD can just do this. They can send one hero at all times, Ame. You'll always see him be the one to push out the lanes, and as soon as he does, the rest of his team can 4-man, do whatever they feel like because they feel strong, because they know that OG doesn't want to just get into a straight 5-on-5. And that's OG's strength, but they've gone for something a little bit different here.
Maybe he's farming really fast, too. Like, even though he went for the straight BKB and not one of those farming items, he will have an Aghanim Scepter very soon. That's going to make this Gyrocopter extremely tanky.
I think these BKBs were more picked up so in case there is a team fight, but so you can secure these towers. When you go for these tower pushes, OG, they'll see the smoke with the Zeus ulti.
How do you
get active in the lanes fast?
Once you have that kind of play where you smoke up, you have an idea of what you want to go for, and something like this happens where your smoke has been spotted out. Do you adapt? Do you keep on going for what your original
I think you get vision out.
Okay, you just use this moment to be able to get vision instead of fighting.
It's a little bit too obvious to get into a 5-on-5 situation.
Yeah.
I feel like it's just awkward. The better thing to do is get vision. Because that's really all you can do. The enemy team knows that you're together. So it's best to just see where you can place wards without actually getting spotted out, and that's exactly what they do.
X-Nova dropping sentries all over the place, making sure, and this is just one of those really common, if you're Radiant side, you lost their safe lane tower, you're gonna try and control your own jungle area because it helps you control the mid lane tower as well. So he's trying to find any of those observer wards before he actually drops his own ops.
Yeah, and it's actually FY that's in this top lane, so PSG.LGD should evacuate. OG's gonna look for this fight because they know that this line can't come in. At best, it's a 4-on-5. That's why Ana's looking for it.
Why do you think they sent the Lion back?
I'm not sure. I think they were actually trying to avoid the 5-on-5. And you saw for a second they were there as 4, and they're like, wait, the wrong coach.
Yes. That was the first step, right? It's just coming back and being a coach.
We're going to get back
Let's get back into it. OG versus LGD, game 1. We are 24 minutes in. OG have a 1,000 net worth lead. They have a global combo between Furion plus a Boots, a Travel, Tops, and Zeus. We are closing in on some very key items.
Bottom lane. They look like they want to make a play for
leading out Zeb, though, with his early BKB. Again, he got the Orchid super fast, so BKB had it about 23 minutes.
Match that tempo.
Last time he, Ame challenged him in that 1v1, and he gave away 1,000 gold. Seb was just a little bit shy of the BKB, but this time he's got it.
It probably tips you off to the fact that you're the highest net worth here in the game. When you see that 1,000.
Yeah. It's one of those things, you don't really know that information until perhaps it's a bit too late. Batting roots on the ground. PSG.LGD scrambling to grab everything on the bottom lane. OG did not get the chance to be able to punish maybe in his positioning, so he does pick up the Aghanim Scepter. And even popping the Shrine, even though he was about 3/4 full. Just gonna top things off. Get some fresh fuel for the fight to come.
I love when people hold on to bounty runes, by the way. Let it percolate.
Why though? It doesn't do anything. Once you put it into your bottle, it's based off the time you picked it up.
I know, but it's cool.
It's cool?
It's like you've got a gold explosion.
Guys, I don't have buyback. Someone use your bottle bounty rune.
Well, as soon as he hits like 1,200 gold, he's gonna pop it.
Okay. It's gonna be that surprise, haha.
All right, they're gonna go for. I'd like to see him Remnant back, TP, help his team.
Yeah. Deal with that top lane push. Yeah. It is a big push.
This is your job right now, as Ame. Letting anybody else do this job, no. It's purely for him. Stay down here as 4 on the side of PSG.LGD. Stick around, let him get his radiance.
Ana's kind of sticking around, right? He may try and go for the Chronosphere onto Ame.
Yeah, they're gonna TP in with the Nature Front.
He goes straight up the Chronosphere. The TP coming in for the Furion just outside of it. Doomep. He wants to be the BKB activated. He jumps away. This is why picked up the fast BKB, and sadly Seb was just on the outside of
that is why
some auto attack.
It's not for the team fight. It's for when you go for these split pushes that you need to be afraid. And Seb, if he TPs on the other side, they definitely get that kill.
Yeah. And he was stuck in a situation where he was already TPing basically at the same time the Chronosphere was down, so he was like, I shouldn't really cancel this and replace it.
Oh, that was such a sick trap. By getting punished for that now, losing the bottom tier 2 tower, you can put even pressure. And this is the worst thing as a Nature's Prophet. Once you lose your tier 2 towers, the potential for trading racks is always available to them. And because you have this Ember Spirit, it's even harder to just go for a 1-for-1 racks trade. Right. So if PSG.LGD feels stronger, they'll just go for it.
And they should be picking up the pace right about now, right? They've just got their Radiance. They know there's no Chrono.
Yeah, you go for it right now.
There's no better time to go for it, and that's why they're just trying to, they're not going for the kill at all, but they're just trying to push Chalice back, make him so he's low enough he doesn't feel comfortable leading an engagement. They push out mid, which is going to make this smoke a little bit more obvious. They use the Orchid onto Ame. He's obviously fine. We'll hold on to his BKB charge as well. PSG.LGD, they're going to be spotted at Thunder God's Wrath, just as we were talking about that mid lane push. Pushing Chalice back, pushing the wave in makes that obvious. They read exactly where PSG.LGD is, but LGD still gonna go for it. His challenge gonna wrap around with FY behind the tier 1 tower. They're gonna jump for it. Catching No Tail. The Rolling Thunder is out from Jarex already. He's gonna hit FY as well as the Thunder Guns grab some stuff, and they're gonna be able to bring down one support at least. Challenge left in an awkward position here, but maybe focusing on that objective. And OG, a little bit skittish about taking the fight. You've got 15 seconds left with the Chronosphere, and that's why Ame immediately gonna jump into the high ground. Hopefully go with help Nova out. He's gonna use the ultimate. There goes grab, but it doesn't actually catch Alna. They only manage to finish up Jarex. They're gonna jump over the triangle where Thompson is sitting all by himself. No, the buyback coming in with Jarex. He's gonna try and help out poor Thompson here. Use Scepter onto himself. The Jar is trying to stay away from Anno and all that physical damage. Chronosphere just came out. The Rocket Rod is enough to finish off Anno, and Anno will finish off the Gyro in turn. Ame, he does have a lot of damage, so with that Radiance, can they chase down Ana?
Zeb is still strong.
Chains, he's then gonna go for the 2 supports here. He's got Zeb as well as chase down the carry of Ana, but he will get 2 kills for the team.
And that was the buyback from Jarex. Fantastic fight from PSG.LGD. That all comes down to X-Nova's positioning. They all leaned on him while they were killing the cores in the backline of OG. And once you get on top of the Zeus, the team fight feels completely over.
14 to 16, 29 minutes in, and PSG.LGD for the first time in about 15 minutes had the net worth lead. No matter how small it is, they do have the lead, they do have the experience. The Chronosphere being used in that last fight as well, that's going to give PSG.LGD a lot of confidence to keep this going. They need Ravage, though, in 70 seconds.
And they should feel really strong right now.
Yeah.
It's so hard for OG to take a fight. Like I said, straight up 5-on-5s, OG will lose. Even with Chronos, OG hit a 2-man Chrono onto both cores, and it doesn't matter.
So X-Nova, there's a lot of ways that Oracle's trying to solve the problem, which is you've got a target on you. Everyone's going to try and chase you down. And a lot of them go for Glimmer Capes, Blink Daggers, maybe an Ether Lens to help with cast range. But here, because of the global presence of Furion plus Zeus, we've got X-Nova trying to rush an Aeon Disc, which is a really smart decision, I think.
It also makes it so that if you do get chronoed with one of your 2 cores, you'll never be focused down.
Yeah.
It just wastes more and more time from Ana. And I think for PSG.LGD, the longer the fight lasts, because you have a core that can consistently catch up to the enemy team and comes with his own stun, you're going to be stronger. Which is wild to think about, considering Zeus is one of the best.
Yeah, that is one thing. The only thing that really can stop that longer team fight going in favor of LGD has got to be Thompson, and that's why they've been trying to focus him down so much.
He needs a Blink Dagger.
20. That's what he's going for, is that Blink Dagger. Again, the Orchid, but again, Ame doesn't care. And in fact, he almost has an Aghanim Scepter already.
He needs to outplay them right now, Thompson.
Yeah.
Get the Blink Dagger. Figure out your positioning in team fights to be able to get in and out.
It's going to be so hard against the Aghanim Scepter, Ember Spirit. I've heard a lot of Ember Spirit players, CCNC in particular, I think, Gunnar as well agreed with this, is the Aghanims is a bit of a trap. But in this game, right, it is meant for it. Trying to get on top of the Zeus is like Ame's biggest objective in every single fight, and that Aghanim Scepter will do a lot for them.
Didn't they say it was a trap when you get it before you hit level 25?
Yeah, I think that was also another part of it, which Ame is closing in on 25.
Yeah, once you get your 25 plus the Aghanim Scepter, I think it's real good.
Yeah. He's already got so many damage items as well. Hasn't opted for anything that's going to proc off a Sleight of Fist just yet. But
I would have really liked for, in this game in particular, for him to have gone for the Boots of Travel.
Yeah.
It makes this playstyle that he's opting for a little bit stronger.
Yeah. I'm a little bit surprised he didn't go for the Maelstrom as well, considering how, the Furion with so many treants.
Radiance works?
Radiance works just as well, I guess, and maybe stronger in these team fights for him.
Radiant are scared.
The Blink Dagger's almost here for Thompson. What else do we have? Jarex is trying to get a Glimmer Cape, I think specifically to help out Thompson, because they know how important his positioning is in these fights. Zeb has his AC. And Ana, the BKB as well as a Manta. 9-second BKB left for him.
I sort of feel like OG, they sort of have to go for a smoke, pick off the core, and immediately try to Roshan. And use that Roshan to get even more map control.
Yeah.
Grab this tier 2 tower at bottom, then diverge onto this mid lane.
Because you are going to feel like really good once you have that Satanic punch,
yes,
right? So
I think they really need to make that play on the side of OG. Go for some sort of 5-man, try to get the cores. If you can find the Ember Spirit doing this playstyle, that would be ideal. The problem is, normally you get one moment where you can trick somebody and they forget about how they can die.
Yeah.
And that was a top lane. But maybe they can do it again. Ame, if he's going to stick around for the next creep wave, he could just die here.
500 HP. Can he actually live through with all this? They're going to be able to help out with the Nimbus as well. Jorgen, with the Manta, man. Anna just cleaned him up so quick.
Go Roche, go Roche.
Go Roche. Is this the opportunity for OG that they needed to claim the Aegis?
You at least have an opportunity to, if he did have buyback, you could maybe force a buyback, but as soon as they know that they're roaching and they can't buyback, they know the Ember's out of the fight.
Yeah.
They didn't go for a smoke, but it's the same idea. Get a core pick off, go into Roshan. You have to use this Aegis.
And how much of this is a feint from Chalice? Is he just threatening, hey, Ember Spear could buy back, you gotta get out of this pit? Or does he actually think they can win a 5 versus 4?
I don't think they can win a 5 versus 4, but they're trying to stall it up as long as they can. But once they see FY at top lane, they're going to just walk back into the Roshan pit.
Yeah.
They know this isn't a real fight. This is sort of just buying a little bit of time.
OG are doing a really good job of making the most of this, right? With the push on the top lane, getting tier 3, the tier 1 at bottom, actually does fall, Chalice.
Yeah, what they're trying to do is buy time for the Ember Spirit. There's about still a 25-second window. Seb is now here with his AC.
All right, if OG was going to commit, they have to do it now. At 20 seconds.
Nice defense by PSG.LGD.
Yeah, that was so smart of Chalice.
Chalice just walks in. He knows there's no chrono. He can't die. He's got a pipe and a Solar Crest and Vlad's. But I do think the idea behind what OG was going for is the right play.
Yeah. And hey, if that play happens again, then next thing you know, you've taken the tier 2 at bottom. Now
they're going for now.
PSG.LGD, they said, you didn't want to fight us? 4 versus 5? Well, guess what? Now the Ember Spirit's alive. And we don't think you're going to fight us for this.
They got to wait out chrono, too. 10 seconds left, so it is going to be up. PSG.LGD, because they've got this this Satanic, I think they feel a little bit too overconfident. They've got to be careful. If this Faceless Void engages, he's looking for the angle right now. He sees 2 cores for the time being. But both teams just playing around this area, both loath to just give it up.
Roshan is getting so low, bit by bit, that eventually someone's going to fully commit to it. They are going to be able to get the pick off. That's going to start with FY. Now the Orchid onto the Tidehunter, prevent any sort of ravage, as the OG did get a little bit too close to that watermelon.
Look at this, Ana making his way up.
Sure to use that mobility to their advantage. You see Seb pushing in bottom lane. This is an opportunity for him to take the tier 2. With no boots of travel, Ame has a tough time being able to deal with this. He's going to run to bottom lane, but damage, a significant amount will have already been done with the double Siege Wagon push.
Seb likely to take this tower. At least the Siege Wagons, they'll get him denied.
His Solar Crest. To finish off the Nimbus, that's another 100 gold.
Maybe he's committed for this. FY's coming back right now.
Oh, that 40 movement speed coming in just at the right time. Ame sees the opportunity to be able to jump in the back line. Top time, FY's been stunned up onto Anna. Now maybe he's going to be able to get around, but Thompson being haunted down the ramp. Going down the blink. He got the guess why. He gets out with the Shrine activated. FY might just be able to live. Jerry's getting a little stuck on the cliff, but it looks like FY does manage to live. Ame jumping back into this one. Will manage to find No-Tail here. That's one support down, 5 for 5. Now LGD trying to go back to their own home field. He's dead, and now OG.
He does have buyback. He's got to commit to it right now if he is going to do it.
He does have a TV scroll up. He's going to commit now with a stomp, landing on a 3. Can maybe finish this one up solo. He's going to be able to jump in, throw the screen out. He picked up an arrow. It's still the take. Jared starting to clean up the stop. Now it's 7th here for the sprout. But he's still been slowed down. Another stomp. This time from the AT. And that will be enough for Anna to be able to get out. But it looks like Seb, his life has been forfeited here as he's going to be chased down by Ame. Pops the BKB. Tries to go for the Sprout TP away, and our favors, yeah, 66%. Again, the late game of the Faceless Void, and trying to go high ground against that, as well as the ET, the Zeus, the mobility of the Furion. The list actually goes on and on how good high ground defense is for OG.
I still think this game is slightly PSG.LGD favored.
Yeah.
I'm not really willing to... I think this game's pretty coin flippy. Like OG's lineup, the way that it functions is if they do win one team fight, they're going to push in the lanes real quick. They've got the build straight, they've got an AC, their heroes hit towers very well. But I feel like right now, PSG.LGD, they should win most of the team fights. It's a lot easier for their Ember Spirit to get his damage off as opposed to Thompson, who's got to play constantly on retreat. Like, he has to rely on Ana to get that Chronosphere off, and when he doesn't, you see how weak their lineup looks.
So we have with the side device being finished up by Seth, Ame is already trying to address that with an Aeon Disc for his own. So
they do have a Hex now on Seth. That's a big item pickup for him.
So that's why he's trying to go for that Aeon Disc, because the BKB may not be enough anymore.
Middle tower
He still needs to be able to address that split push from OG, even if they have the team fight locked in, especially with the Aegis on maybe right now. They have to make sure they are not outmaneuvered by OG, because they've done that so many times in the past, and so many times at this international as well. It's part of what their aggression, why it looks so good, right, is being able to, first of all, put the enemy team in the wrong place, wrong part of the map, and then force that fight, a Shadow Blade, or a Seb just to help him get that sight device off.
It's good damage too, and it helps him so that he can deal with these stragglers. He doesn't have to pop his BKB just to get kills. There is a gem pickup almost immediately by Xnova. I think they're feeling the lack of wards right now. Like I think they've accepted that they're never going to get wards out for very long, but they also have to take away OG's vision if they can. That's where OG's lineup is still pretty potent.
Yeah. It's so hard against a Furion, right? Like, sometimes you just give the wards to the Furion, even if he's core, and he goes out, plants some Jerix with his swashbuckle, allowing him to get to places that most supports can as well.
Yeah, we saw in the pre-game stats, by the way, both teams used to such aggression, but this time, and they played against each other so often, that they've slowed down the pace. They know that all it really comes down to is the team fights.
Thundergod's Wrath going off, just making sure that LGD can't really challenge for this bounty room. And that'll allow OG to be able to get 3 out of the 4, even against an Aegis. It goes to show, like, PSG.LGD, they're still going to be a little bit timid about taking fights against OG. Especially as they're split around the map. The Rolling Thunder going off, does manage to knock up Xnova with that line being finished off as well. 2 different kills like this would be massive. They do have Ame coming in, but immediately the BKB from Seb, they know 2 pickoffs on the supports. As long as nobody dies here, they're going to just go wall jump in from the Aghanim Scepter Spirit to be able to chase down No-Tail, but No-Tail managed to get off the stump onto Ame. Ame finished off with a double damage, especially with Chalice and Maybe joining him in the mid lane.
And so the split push continues. Thompson at top lane, Seb towards bottom. If you can't fight him, extend the game until you find opportunities where you can.
Especially with these level 25 talents coming in. Ana has his with the Chronosphere AoE. We've got.
I know there's no BKB, but no vision either.
Yeah. Those effective late game Shadow Blades. It's always tough for cores to carry vision.
Yeah, that's why Nature's Prophet, it doesn't feel awful, even though you can't team fight too well. Sprout is going to get much better as the game goes on. Your Shadow Blade will get a lot better because cores can't really carry around the gems or anything like that.
Yeah. Look at that, though. The most Zeus's I see go for that 155 arc lightning damage. It's so much, considering how often you spam it. Oh, it's TP and Seb! That's some church bells hanging between his legs right there. Just TP's in, instantly BKBs, finished off the tier 3. Now Shrines have been unlocked, and eventually he'll take it with the Treants.
Look at Maybe's build, by the way. He's decided to go for the Basher because he's so tired of this. He knows they need some way to punish that.
With the Mjolnir attack speed as well, he's just going to be focusing on all of the
bottom lane.
Various procs. They are going to be able to get the Aegis to pop here and takes away the regen while Ame being gone out. They do have the Chronosphere. It's Seth going to be able to get him enough damage. It just overwhelms Ame very quickly. He still, and I'm not sure if he ever will, be tanky enough to live through that Chronosphere unless he's got the Aeon Disc.
He didn't have a remnant far back enough. I think he was relying on the speed to try to outplay. Got a little bit lazy there. And OG punishes their lineup. It's designed to constantly pressure the lanes, find openings like that.
Mjolnir, almost complete for Somnus. Got the 20 strength for the Pangolier. Pop and Link gets managed to get the hang small up. They're just going to try and jump out as quickly as possible. That'll buy back seconds now off of the buyback around Roshan, and LGD know about that.
Yeah, there was no one near him. And it just decided to step forward.
And now Seven's going to do everything he can to try and force the attention to the side lanes rather than that mid lane where PSG.LGD is barreling down. But that's where Ame comes into play. May not have the A on this, but he's going to play like he does have it. Jerix get it rolling in with this Glimmer King, the Invis Ball. Not really doing a whole lot, especially since they have the vision down. They're going to do a decent amount of something for him. A little bit too late, no damage being dealt, and Somnus can now turn all of his attention into the tier 3s. 80 seconds left for Anna's revival here. And PSG.LGD, they're going to have to hold it down, make sure they can keep initiation side of OG. They're going to be able to fight the initiation. For 2 minutes, and PSG.LGD. What's the point of being there? Just hit the tier 4 go throw.
40 seconds still for this Vixen's void. Anna says to his team, my bad.
And it was indeed his bad. It's that one little mistake from him. They just cost him the game. Trying to draw some attention away from the tier 4. Little to stop his death. No tails now here. 15 seconds. But the throne being just poked away by Somnus. He's doing so much damage. 2,000 HP. 10 seconds left to the point.
Such a tense game. And that one lapse in judgment.
Yep. This is what is going to determine the victory between these two teams who are so evenly matched.